Once there was a girl a-running in a group. She had a high-speed motor in a 44 coupe. She had a racing cam and a supercharged. Look at Buddy, hot rod at large. She's a hot rod. She's a hot rod.
It's a great time to be alive right now, actually, in the car world, except for a few shortages that are coming along and a few things that are passing each other in the night. And when I say passing each other in the night, I'm a little worried. I'll give you a couple of reports here and then we'll talk. 928 Car Guys if you want to talk to us, or you want to get online on Facebook Live. Eric will take your questions and feed them back to me. A company called Enride is from Sweden, and they just got NHTSA approval. Swedish autonomous truck startup Enride has received a regulatory approval to operate its trucks on public U.S. roadways, and will begin doing so this year, the company said. This was just Thursday, 2 days ago. Enride will launch a pilot program in Tennessee with General Electric Appliances in the third quarter. The project will help the self-driving truck company showcase the ability of its pod truck, it's called, and which is built without a traditional front cab. There is no front cab on it. I saw it. It's the ugliest thing I ever saw. The company, any truck driver, any self-respecting truck driver looks at this would never get in it. The company said, of course, it has no cab. You can't get in it. The company said it received the go-ahead to drive on public roadways from the NHTSA. I don't know if I'm buying that or not, but well, I mean, they have, but I don't know if it's a good idea. Because of Enride's pod cabless design, no driver or safety operator will be on board the truck as it drives. Instead, the autonomous trucks will be monitored by a remote pod operator. Some guy with a pod is, like a drone. Enride has been testing on public roadways in Europe since 2019. And no report, they don't say anything about if it's killed anybody. In the U.S., it has been regulated to private road testing because current laws and regulations allow only traditional vehicle manufacturers to test drive vehicles that don't conform to the Federal Motor Vehicle Safety Standards on our public roads. So they're going to let this semi company from Finland operate without a safety driver. Number 2, General Motors Cruise. That's their electric people, and that's also their autonomous people. On Thursday, became the first company to secure a permit to charge for self-driving car rides in San Francisco after it overcame the city officials' objections. They're not free anymore. Nothing's for free anymore. Self-driving test cars with human safety drivers have become a constant sight in San Francisco, and completely driverless ones are increasingly common too. Turning them into a fledgling business in a major U.S. city marks a milestone in a long-delayed journey towards driverless taxi service. The permit was Cruise's final hurdle in California. Cruise said it would launch paid services within the next couple of weeks using up to 30 driverless Chevy Bolt electric vehicles. Bolt, isn't that the one that got recalled for catching on fire?
See.
Yeah, that's what we thought. The California Public Utilities Commission, I think California Public CUB or something, whatever they call it. Oh, no, that's carburation. Commission approved Cruise's permit late Thursday in a 4-0 vote. So now they're going to let Cruise operate without a backup driver. Okay. One more story. Uber Technologies, Inc. on Monday said it launched a food pilot service delivery program with autonomous vehicles in 2 California cities. They probably should do like San Francisco and Santa Monica or one of them. We'll see. In 2 California cities, and said it was adding electric vehicle charging stations into its global driver app. Well, that's pretty easy to do right now. There's only 3 or 4 of them. Uber announced one food delivery service using autonomous cars and a separate pilot using sidewalk robots. Oh, both services are available to Uber Eats users in Santa Monica. There's one. Oh, West Hollywood in California. And consumers will have the ability to opt out of the programs. In other words, you can tell them, I won't be sending that robot to my house. The autonomous car pilot is in collaboration with Motional, the self-driving joint venture of Hyundai Motor Company and Aptiv PLC, and was initially announced in December. It launched on Monday, Uber and Motional said. So Uber's in bed with Hyundai. Uber said the sidewalk robots are provided by Serve Robotics, a spin-off of a delivery company called Postmates, which Uber acquired in 2020. Uber bought them. Okay, so now we're going to have autonomous driving, autonomous delivery, autonomous taxis, autonomous food delivery, autonomous semis. 3 or 4 or 50 ton at 70 mile an hour, 60. They'll probably only go to speed limit 55. Doesn't matter. If they're going over 2 mile an hour, they'll crush you. So it doesn't matter. They're all going to be driverless. The damn semis don't even have a cab. They couldn't have a driver in them if they wanted to. They couldn't save themselves if they had to. Now you tell me, have we put the cart before the horse? We don't have a reliable electric vehicle, and we definitely have no infrastructure. Last week I reported to all you people that the government was going to put in 500,000 charging stations. You know how many that is? That's one for every 10 cars that are electric out there. So have fun arguing with the other 9 guys who gets to charge today. Okay? Who gets to use it?
We're going to call dibs. That's what we're going to do.
Yeah, you're going to call dibs, put your chair in front of it like they do in Chicago, so you don't take my parking spot. I got to tell you, it's just not. We are getting so fast that our tail is passing up our nose, and it's like a dog going too fast. And it's not gonna. It could work. I'm not saying it's not going to work. I'm not going to tell you for my opinion, because opinions are like noses. They all smell. And I'm just telling you, here's the deal. You're going to have vehicles with no drivers on your highways and on your byways and in your neighborhood, and little robots coming down the street to run over your little kid that's playing out in the front yard and wants to see what this thing is. You know, it's going to draw attention, let's face it. Little kids are going to go after it.
No, you're definitely right.
They're going to want to play with it. They're going to have fun with it. And they don't know any better. But you don't have a reliable electric car. You don't have a reliable charging system. Of course, the reliable charging systems are catching fire. You don't have a reliable infrastructure. If you did have a good charging station, you don't have a reliable infrastructure to put it together. Just last week, my shop alone, we had power outages on and off for like 3 days because it was so hot and air conditioning and blah, blah, blah. And it wasn't for long periods of time, but just enough. But there's no electric cars in Lansing or Cal City or Munster. Or there's a few. But nobody's plugging in 20,000 electric cars at once to charge. Okay? Can you imagine what that's going to do to my electrical grid? I'm better off buying a generator, Eric.
Yeah, it's going to blow up everything.
I'd have to buy a huge generator to run my business and just the heck with ComEd, because I wouldn't be able to get enough electricity because everybody's charging their cars. Guys that work midnights are charging during the day, and the guys that work days are charging during the midnights. So it doesn't matter when I open my shop, I won't have enough electricity. It's just not going to be there. We don't have the grid. We don't have the infrastructure. And now, before we get any of that settled, before we even know what the best electric car to buy is, we're going to have cars driving themselves. We're going to have people that are just so dead set on autonomy and autonomous driving, or like they said, like a drone, a guy with a pod making things go where they're supposed to go. You know what? The guy with the pod cannot see the emergency vehicle up ahead. The guy with the pod can't see the curb real good. He's going to be bumping off of curbs. He's going to be hitting poles. He's going to cut corners too tight. It's not like a pod up in the air, a plane up in the air that you got all the room in the world to turn around. You're on a street. You're on a busy street with people, cars, traffic, everything. And it's just, We're just going too fast. They got to get this, the autonomous part of it. I don't even care if I ever see that in my lifetime. I don't know that I want to see that in my lifetime. But it's progress. If you're going to call it progress, you call it progress. All right? But the electric cars are here. They're the future. And if we don't get those fixed up, if we don't get those down pat, if we don't get them regulated and preserved by electricity, we're going to be out of luck. I want to show you something here. I told you last week that every car dealer in America had the best year on record for money. Not car sales, because they didn't have the cars. It was money. In other words, they made the most money ever from car sales that they ever did by selling less cars. Okay, it makes a lot of sense now that if you've been out pricing cars, it makes a whole lot of sense to you. Okay, if you haven't been out looking at cars, then you don't really get it yet, but you will when you have to go buy one. Get your wallet out, because they're keeping the inventories nice and thin. You can't get the color you want. You can maybe get the one you want. You might get the car you want. You might get the engine you want, but you're still, no matter what, you're going to pay $3,000 plus over the sticker price for this car. And they're going to tell you that's the chips. Well, I told you last week, it's not the chips. And I want to tell you a little something, a side gig to this super duper year that these car dealers had. This galls me. 5 out of the 6 major publicly traded dealership groups, that's the big guys that have 10, 20 dealers, produce more than 2,000 in same-store finance and insurance gross profit on every vehicle transaction during the first quarter of this year. Of those, Group 1 Automotive joined AutoNation above the $2,500 mark. A year ago on AutoNation's F&I operations, AutoNation's, they made more than $2,000 per vehicle on the same store. Ashby Automotive Group breached the $2,000 mark for the first quarter with a $2,376 same-store gross profit, joining 4 of its peers there. Penske Automotive Group in the last 6 is last in the 6 below, $2,000, but it's less than $100 away. It's like $1,900 per vehicle. Let me tell you what this means. F&I. Once you've sat with a car, you looked at the car you like, and this is how it used to be back when they had cars, or they were willing to show you cars. You look at the car you want, you go sit down with the salesman, he writes you up a deal. Here's the deal. Now, first thing they ask you, are you going to finance it with us, or are you going to finance it with your bank? If you tell him your bank, of course, he gets a big frown on his face, but he writes it up anyway. If you tell him with you, he gets on the horn. First thing he does, pick up the phone, get on the horn to the finance and insurance guy. Got one on the hook for you, buddy. Come on down. And when he's done making the deal with you, this F&I guy sits down and says, okay, we're going to help you finance and insure this vehicle, yada, yada, yada. And he gives you a quote, and we're going to roll it into the payment. As long as they roll it into the payment, most people don't care. They don't stop to think. But on that car, simply because you financed it with them, they went over the $2,000 mark per car this year. These are all big dealer groups. These are groups that have new cars, used cars. They have dealers. They have Chevys. They have Fords. They have Chrysler. They have all the different makes. These are just huge dealer groups. And they all, with the exception of Penske Auto, which is at $1,900 something, went over $2,000 per car profit off of you and your wallet because you financed through them. So if they made $2,000 off that financing, what do you suppose the finance company made? Eric, what do you think? It's a simple game of numbers, I think. It is. I would say they split 70-30, so there's got to be got to be about $5,000 in insurance in finance costs.
Yeah.
5 or 6, and then $2,000 to the dealer. That's $7,000.
I was gonna say 60-40.
Yeah. So you're going to spend an extra $7,000 on a vehicle because you financed with them.
Yeah.
Instead of the bank. If you finance with the bank, of course you're gonna pay more. I don't even know if banks still have a car loan guy. I mean, everybody goes with F&I now because they're in the dealer and they're pushing so hard. They almost won't let you out the door unless you finance with them.
I don't think Chase does.
You know, they make as much as they can off of you before you get out that door of that car dealer. You don't get out the door unless they have made the optimum amount of money, Eric. They get everything they can out of your pocket. All the money you got and all the money you're going to have. This is a racket. As far as I'm concerned, the whole thing with the light inventory and the big price on the cars, and now the F&I groups, and they had to file this. This story didn't come out of nowhere. They have to file the profits they make on F&I. Okay, and the government gets it, and so does everybody else. And through the Freedom of Information Act, so does the news media and the car guys. Yours truly, and some of them made as much as $2,600 per car extra after they charged you $4,000 over the sticker. So if they made $3,000 at sticker and $4,000 over, that's $7,000, and another $2,700. That's $90,000. That's $10,000 off of one sale, one car that you are overpaying. Hello? I mean, think about it.
Yeah, that's a lot. Yeah, that's highway robbery.
I mean,
If that.
I stopped short of saying anything bad. No, I'm not. That's
No,
bad.
yeah, that's bad.
This whole bad thing is bad. It's highway robbery. It's the new thing for the car salesmen now and the F&I guys. They should make them wear a mask, like a robber, like a bank robber. Make them wear the handkerchief like this.
Yeah, I know what you're talking about. Yeah.
They should wear a mask. That's just how it is. All right. Well, you've had that rant on that, and be aware of that. Sit down and do the numbers. If you're a rational person, when you go to buy a car and you're not in a big hurry, you didn't blow up your old one and you got to have one, and you'll take whatever you can get, whoever will sell it to you, sit down and do the numbers. And then hold your breath and watch what happens.
Yeah.
It's going to give you a heart attack when you do the numbers.